Hi everyone, Agnes here. I am going to be going through Neville Goddard's book, Your Faith is Your Fortune, and today it is session number 3. So we are going to start with the chapter, Whom Seek Ye? Now, if you've got this copy, it is page 11. I have told you that I am. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way. John 18:8. As soon then as he had said unto them, I am, they went backward and fell to the ground. Today there is so much said about masters, elder brothers, adepts, and initiates that numberless truth seekers are being constantly misled by seeking these false lights. For a price, most of these pseudo-teachers offer their students initiation into the mysteries promised them, guidance and direction. Man's weakness for leaders, as well as his worship of idols, makes him an easy prey of these schools and teachers. Goodwill comes to most of those enrolled students. They will discover after years of awaiting and sacrificing that they were following a mirage. They will then become disillusioned in their schools and teachers, and this disappointment will be worth the effort and price they have paid for their fruitless search. They will then turn from their worship of man, and in so doing, discover that which they are seeking is not to be found in another, for the kingdom of heaven is within. Luke 17:21. This realization will be their first real initiation. The lesson learned will be this: there is only one master, and this master is God, the I am within ourselves. I am the Lord thy God, who led thee out of the land of darkness, out of the house of bondage. Exodus 22. I am, your awareness is Lord and Master, and beside your awareness there is neither Lord nor Master. You are master of all that you will ever be aware of being. So Neville talks a lot about the I am, and that the answers are not out there, over there, in someone or with something, but it is about going within to the God within, and that you discover and sit and basically having that relationship with the source of all, the infinite intelligence within you, that you lean more on that as the years go by rather than that out there. And there are many that out there. There is, as many of you tell me, tarot, psychics, people that give advice that don't really have what you want. And also sometimes it can be a counselor, a therapist. All these people, I think, are a wonderful bridge of events or transition until you get good at doing this yourself. Now, I do think that we do love wonderful conversations with people that are like-minded. Nothing wrong with that. But when we have these really big forks in the road, that being able to go within us for answers and practice working with the I am, that then we know we are improving getting the real answers, the answers that we need, trusting our intuition, hearing source more clearly, and whether it's messages that come in meditation, it might be through a book, through a song, or even through an ad on TV, all of these types of ways that we get answers. It's developing that within ourselves. Now, I like how he said here, I am your awareness, is Lord and Master. Beside your awareness, there is neither Lord nor Master. You are master of all that you will ever be aware of being. So he does encourage in many of his books to develop that and to get better at that and to ask and lean on and trust that power. Okay. You know that you are, do you not? Knowing that you are is the Lord and Master of that which you know that you are. Sometimes you feel like he's just talking around in circles, but it's becoming aware of that all the answers are inside. I mean, this is no different to the Wizard of Oz. I mean, the whole story was them going on this unbelievable journey to get to this wizard who just ends up being this guy behind a curtain who wasn't a wizard at all, to get the things that they desired. Courage, you know, each one of the characters had something that they wanted. Victoria, the chapter is Whom Seek Ye? It is chapter number 4. So it really is, that story of the Wizard of Oz is such a great example of how so many of us look to the outside for an answer, for the answer, so that we can have relief, we can get to where we want to go, we can manifest what we want. But when you look at the Wizard of Oz, they developed the courage, and all the other characters had different things they wanted to ask the wizard about. They ended up developing those things along the journey. And it's the same for you in regards to whether you do Neville or not. It is a progression of understanding so that you no longer suffer and you no longer look to someone out there to give you what you think you need. And you learn to develop the state, because Neville talks a lot about states, developing the state needed to then attract that matching vibrational state of the thing desired. So, as many of you have said to me, how do I attract love? How do I attract money? How do I attract the job that I desire? You have to become the person that feels worthy, secure, centered, balanced, relaxed, because we can all get very intense when we want something and we can't seem to work out how to get it. So it's knowing that you have a power within you and that you need to learn to activate it, connect with it, and lean into it, so that you're not trying to do everything by your own might, which is very exhausting, as I know many of you are weary from trying to find and get to where you want to go with certain desires. So Neville is reminding us, you could be completely isolated by man from that which you are conscious of being. Yet you would, in spite of all human barriers, effortlessly draw to yourself all that you were conscious of being. The man who is conscious of being poor does not, does not need the assistance of anyone to express his poverty. The man who is conscious of being sick, though isolated, in the most hermetically sealed, germ-proof area in the world, would express sickness. There is no barrier to God, for God is your awareness of being. That is so simply said. I'm going to read it again. There's no barrier to God. There's no barrier for you to be able to tap into that wisdom, for God is your awareness of being. So you're aware of being sick. You're aware of being poor. You're aware of being unloved. You're aware of being in a job that you don't like and you've hated it for a long time. Your awareness of being is what creates the map for where you end up. So to change where you end up, if it's not to your liking, you must change your map. And how do you change your map? You change your state, and you change looking externally for answers, externally for someone to give you something, and you put your focus more on getting into the state of love, wealth, freedom, health. Okay. And that takes practice because, as we know, it's so much easier to focus on where you're at and think that the circumstances are making you feel this way, but it's actually you feeling that way that over time has created these conditions. Okay. There is no barrier to God, for God is your awareness of being. God is your awareness of being. God is your awareness of being. What are you aware of? What are you aware of that you are being? Okay. Regardless of what you are aware of being, you can and do express it without effort. Stop looking for the master to come. He is within you always. So if you're giving your power away to a so-called master, and there are many ways people hand over their power, it doesn't matter whether it's within your family, within your culture, within your country, within your religion, within your spiritual practice, within your workplace. There are many ways in which we hand over our power, and it's looking at, okay, where I am today, am I handing my power over to, and then you fill in the blank, who is it? Okay. And once we see that and we acknowledge that, then we can set ourselves free, because it's identifying it first so that we don't continue to do it. And that's when you start to build the inner power. You take out the middleman and you go direct. There is no barrier to God, for God is your awareness of being. Regardless of what you are aware of being, you can and do express it without effort. I'm reading this again because this is really important. Stop looking for the master to come. He is with you always. I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Matthew 28:20. You will from time to time know yourself to be many things, but you need not be anything to know that you are. That you are God, that you are connected, that you can be moving effortlessly through life because you understand where the true power comes from, and you spend your time connecting with it, whether it's in nature, in meditation, whether you do yoga, whether you do chanting, whatever it is. There are many ways to plug in, but it's making the effort to do so on a regular, I think, daily, as much as possible basis. You will from time to time know yourself to be many things, but you need not be anything to know that you are. You can, if you so desire, disentangle yourself from the body you wear. In so doing, you realize that you are a faceless, formless awareness and not dependent on the form you are in your expression. You will know that you are. You will also discover that this knowing that you are God, that you are is God, the Father, which preceded all that you ever knew yourself to be. Okay? So you're going back to remembering something you've forgotten. And sometimes it takes a crisis. Sometimes it just takes things going on and on and on and on and on for a long time that you're worn down to the bone. But there will come a point where you kind of get to the place where you hit the wall and you cry out and you just say, I can't do this anymore. And you just ask for assistance. You will know, no, I've read that bit. There are no ascended masters. Banish this superstition which is interesting because there's a lot of people that believe there are ascended masters. So Neville is not a believer of this. Banish this superstition. You will forever rise from one level of consciousness, master, to another. In so doing, you manifest the ascended level, expressing this newly acquired consciousness. Consciousness being Lord and Master, you are the master magician, conjuring that which you are now conscious of being. For God, consciousness calleth those things which be not as though they were. Romans 4:17. Things that are not now seen will be seen the moment you become conscious of being that which is not now seen. Okay, so let's go through that. So basically, you're here and you feel, let's use unloved as an example. And you are conscious of that and you feel that, and you say, this keeps happening to me, and you keep saying people keep leaving me. You feel the loneliness, you feel that wind blowing through your heart, and you feel terrible. It's a horrible state to be in for those of you that have been there and know that place. So when you have that moment, you observe it, and then you say to yourself, okay, now I've got to become conscious of being that which is not now seen, which in this example is loved. So you must shift from unlovedness to loved. You must shift from poverty to wealth. You must shift from feeling I'm not healthy, I'm sick, to I am healthy, I am free, my body is free, and I feel wonderful. You're shifting the consciousness, what you are conscious of on those particular topics. And you've got to look at which topics am I struggling the most on. And that won't take much effort to work out because you're living it and you know every day which one is kicking your backside. This rising from one level of consciousness to another is the only ascension that you will ever experience. So you're ascending in your one understanding that there is a change of state required to then change the external 3D. And you not only know that, but then you practice to change your state from unlovedness to lovedness. This rising from one level of consciousness to another is the only ascension you will ever experience. Okay, so it is a consciousness ascension. No man can lift you to the level you desire. The power to ascend is within yourself. It is your consciousness. You appropriate the consciousness of the level you desire to express by claiming that you are now expressing that level, which is what he talks about in At Your Command. It's a command. Open the way for wealth. Open the way for love. So you make it clear, but it's not just the command to the external forces. It's you must feel it with conviction, but also feel the state itself at the same time. Victoria, go ahead.
It's so cool because I've been thinking a lot about this topic. And I thought of it like, it's law of assumption, but like assumption can be more than just like where you're presuming something, right? You can assume something in the sense that you're like approaching it, like a role in a play.
Mm-hmm.
So I read this book by Rupert Spira called You Are the Happiness You Seek. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it to anyone. But he gives this excellent example of a man who is John Smith, call him, but he's playing the role of King Lear from the Shakespeare play. And he is in like a theater giving a presentation, he's doing it. He's in the play that night and he delivers this like Oscar worthy performance where like there's standing ovations from the audience and stuff like that. And after the show, he's back in his dressing room and his family and friends come to see him, but he's literally like so stuck in the moment of playing King Lear that he can't assume John Smith at that time, right? So his family and friends have to like talk him back in to the fact that he's not King Lear, he's John Smith. You know what I'm saying? But I just like, it was a great example. It really hit me hard in a way. And I read this long ago, but then like this morning thinking about that whole assumption as a role thing, and then my mind shot back to that example of like, because that example really helped me understand states, where
Yes.
it's like, you know, an embodiment, right? Like you're playing it like a role in a movie or a play. I am loved, right? Like that's the starring role. That's you being that, you know, Victoria as the loved, cherished, sought after, pursued, like whatever, all the stuff that I like wish I was, right? In my current 3D reality. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that because I thought that was like a good way of looking at it, and just that whole like assumption. It's not just like my presumption. And I feel like he's kind of saying that here. Like it's you're commanding it, like you're saying, or
Yeah.
um you're declaring it. You're claiming that you are now expressing such a level. So I don't know.
Yeah. But it's interesting because if you're playing a role and then you're so immersed in it, you can't unhook yourself to be there with your family. That's really what you want to be doing. I mean, he took it to the extreme, of course, but it's like if you could take 70% of that and bring it into whatever it is that you need to be in to attract the thing that you desire, it's like, okay, let me walk around today as if I am the person that is receiving all the things that you just mentioned. If I knew that I'd received that yesterday and I was going to receive it again today or tomorrow, all those things, how would I walk around my apartment today? It would be a different state of being, because you would know in the marrow of your bones that you are desired, wanted, loved, and you would feel a sense of security. You just would. So, yeah. I mean, that's one that, you know, I remember Daniel Day-Lewis got so immersed in a role, he didn't even come out of it when he wasn't on set, you know, and I think, wow, that is a massive dedication to your craft.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and they're all like the method acting, because
yeah.
Robert De Niro does it too, and like a lot of actors, a lot of the really great actors, they do that. I think they said Robert De Niro, actually his wife almost divorced him like twice because he literally will not, like once he gets the role, he will not drop it no matter what, no matter until the, you know, the film is produced completely and like they're done filming, he will not drop that role. And you know, we consider him one of the greatest actors of all time for a reason, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if that wouldn't activate your I'm second best being the wife, you think, oh my goodness. Like you'd have to have a pretty, I mean, sometimes filming goes on for like a long time. I mean, you'd have to have some really fortified self-love around you to be able to put up with that.
Yeah, and some of those characters, like, you know, you got everything from like Taxi Driver to Meet the Fockers and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of characters.
Yeah. You'd want to hope that your husband that is doing that method acting is picking some of the roles that are actually, you know, if he's some gangster that runs around shooting everybody, that might not be the nicest to be around. But yeah, I love that you brought this up because it is about immersing yourself in a state and letting go of I'm not, why isn't he, why isn't she, how long is this going to take, I've been doing this for ages. and then you wear yourself out with those types of thoughts. But it takes time to let go of that habit of doing that. It does. So yeah, a step at a time, a book at a time, a relationship at a time. Good one. Okay, Victoria, do you want to read?
Sure. Which sentence did we leave off at, though? I don't remember.
Left off around, maybe start with no man can lift you to the level of your desire. Just reread that little bit again.
Uh-oh. No man. Uh-oh. What about, can I just read from you appropriate the consciousness of the level you desire? Okay, because I'm like, oh wait, I see it now. I see it. Okay. No man can lift you to the level you desire. Maybe that one really needed to sink in.
Yep.
The power to ascend is within yourself. It is your consciousness. You appropriate the consciousness of the level you desire to express by claiming that you are now expressing such a level. This is the ascension. It is limitless, for you will never exhaust your capacity to ascend. Turn from the human superstition of ascension with its belief in masters and find the only and everlasting master within yourself. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, if you feel like it, sure.
Okay, I just didn't know if we,
Oh, yeah, the little bit where I talk about it, you mean? Yeah, I'll interrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was pretty easy English to understand, which is good because some of his bits are like a bit twisted up, but this is clear. It's letting go of external gods, masters, and then focusing on developing that in yourself, which is really, that's the greatest love of all, isn't it? Getting to that place.
Yes. It's a good song by Whitney Houston, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Far greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Believe this. Do not continue in blindness, following after the mirage of masters. I assure you, your search can end only in disappointment. If you do not deny me, your awareness of being, I shall deny you also. Thou shalt have no other God beside me. Be still and know that I am God. Come, prove me, and see if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the I am is able to do this? Then claim me to be that which you want to see poured out. Claim yourself to be that which you want to be and that you shall be. Not because of masters will I give it unto you, but because you have recognized me yourself to be that. I will give it unto you, for I am all things to all. Jesus would not permit.
Can I stop for a sec? No, this is the really interesting thing where he says, if you deny me, meaning if you keep staying in your awareness of being unloved or unhealthy, then I'm going to deny you. Meaning, if you keep emphasizing that you're sick and you're unhealthy, then I will deny you health. And if you keep saying that you're unloved and unwanted and that you're in a state of not good enoughness, then I won't deny you that. I'm going to let you have it. It's quite profound. So claiming yourself is key to unlocking the door, claiming something new.
Yeah,
you okay?
What did you say?
Are you okay to keep reading for a bit?
Yeah, sure. Jesus would not permit himself to be called good master. He knew that there is but one good and one master. He knew this one to be his Father in heaven, the awareness of being. The kingdom of God, good, and the kingdom of heaven are within you. Your belief in masters is a confession of your slavery. Only slaves have masters. Change your conception of yourself, and you will, without the aid of masters or anyone else, automatically transform your world to conform to your changed conception of yourself. Ooh.
Yeah. Let's read that sentence again. Your belief in masters, that bit. That is just one of the best paragraphs so far in this book.
Yeah. Your belief in masters is a confession of your slavery. Only slaves have masters. Change your conception of yourself, and you will, without the aid of masters or anyone else, automatically transform your world to conform to your changed conception of yourself.
Yeah. And your master
Good one.
could be your mother. It could be your specific person. It could be your boss. It could be your bodily condition of having cancer, whatever it is. So I love that. Only slaves have masters. I mean, that is just, and your belief in masters is your confession of your own slavery. So we are a slave to what we allow to torture us until we break free of it. That is a profound paragraph.
There is.
Yeah.
Grateful to have read it. You are told in the book of Numbers that there was a time when men were in their own eyes as grasshoppers, and because of this conception of themselves, they saw giants in the land. This is as true of man today as it was the day it was recorded. Man's conception of himself is so grasshopper-like that he automatically makes the conditions round about him appear gigantic. In his blindness, he cries out for masters to help him fight his giant problems. Jesus tried to show man that salvation was within himself and warned him not to look for his savior in places or people. If anyone should come saying, "Look here," or "Look there," believe him not, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. Jesus not only refused to permit himself to be called good master, he warned his followers, "Salute no man along the highway." He made it clear that they should not recognize any authority or superior other than God the Father. Oof. Jesus established the identity of the Father as man's awareness of being. I and my Father are one. I love this. I and
Yes.
my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. I go back to that one a lot. Sorry.
It's good, isn't it? It's so good.
Yeah. When I'm feeling really weak, I definitely say that one to myself repetitively.
Yeah.
I am one with all that I am conscious of being. I am greater than that which I am aware of being. The Creator is ever greater than his creation.
Victoria, I'm just going to take a question. Just pause for a sec. AK4577. Akbar, I think it's you.
Yeah, hi Agnes, hi everyone. My question is regarding this. If someone has a severe addiction, obviously there'll be the old man or the in this case the slave. How if their addiction has a rewiring in their brain, how would they sort of change the concept of themselves? It wouldn't be like done overnight, would it? That's my feeling about it.
Yeah, I think, well, first there's got to be a willingness, to break free, and also with a lot of 12-step fellowships, they rely on a power greater than themselves, which is similar to what Victoria just read about, I and the Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. And it's remembering that we can heal ourselves a day at a time. I mean, recovery is so good for that, but there has to be a surrender and a letting go for the addiction to heal, and processing the emotions that made you drink, take drugs, smoke, whatever it was in the first place. So I do think, I've got quite a few friends I've known over the years that have healed themselves of addictions and have stayed that way. There's no, obviously it's still a day at a time, but some of my friends have got 30 years of addiction. So the putting down the substance is not healing the addiction. It's dealing with the stuff that's underneath that made you want to reach out for the addiction in the first place. That's ongoing work, whether it's you and I that perhaps don't have addictions or someone who does. We still have to walk that path of moving through our emotions when things hit us. And you get better at it as you do it without substances. You're forced to learn certain skills and certain ways of, you develop, you improve, you mature, you learn about yourself, you learn about others, you get better with boundaries, you get better with knowing when someone is trying to take from you. You get more savvy about seeing things. So I do think people can heal from addictions because I've seen it and I've got people around me that do. The speed at which they do it is really, I think, often the people that hit a rock bottom are the ones that are more willing to heal and to do it probably faster because of the commitment. And also, if there's been a breakdown and they've hit rock bottom and they've impacted other people that they love because of that rock bottom, the knowledge of all that, I think, really makes people, it's like the shame and the guilt of having done that to loved ones, I think is something that once you've done that once, I'm not saying that no one ever does it again once they've done it once, but some people can use the memory of those things to stay out of the addiction. And so, yeah, I think it's definitely possible. But see, okay, if we're looking at Neville and we're looking at this scenario, everyone is you pushed out. So you go, okay, what have I got going on within me that I've got this person that's got an addiction around me? And it can be our assumptions about those people. That's the first place to look. Here they go again. They're just an addict. This is how they deal with stuff. I'm so sick of being around this. This person's got no self-respect. There can be a whole host of thoughts about someone who's in addiction. So you go, okay, I've got to dissolve the part of me that holds them in that light. I mean, I didn't grow up religious, and I definitely wasn't influenced by any kind of cultural or religious beliefs. And I will say this, Jesus was one of the best examples of seeing people in a better light than what they were. Like the sick person healthy, the fields white with harvest. I mean, even when you didn't grow up with religion, you knew about Jesus, that he saw things differently in his mind to what he saw through his eyes. He corrected the vision into the highest good of that particular scenario. So it's almost like we, as Neville students, law of attraction students, personal development, we can practice that too. And a person who's in an addiction or recovering from an addiction is a great place to practice that.
Right.
Because, go ahead.
If someone is in addiction or recovering from addiction,
yeah,
would you still could they still manifest things in their life, or would you tell them to focus on their recovery till their vibration and everything else has changed in order to attract the things they want?
Well, firstly, are they open to hearing it from you?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, I mean, we can definitely help people by sharing what we know, but our best thing is to lead by example and share what's happening with us so that they get a sense of what's possible, you know? Because I remember, and everyone as you pushed out Ho'oponopono dovetail together.
Yeah.
Because you're dissolving the part of you that's got that sitting in front of you, person with addiction, for example. So you got to look at, okay, what are all the negative emotions that I have about watching this person's addiction? Now, when you've been around people with addiction and they are still stuck in the addictive state, it's not the easiest thing to be around, because it's very hard to watch someone that you love have destructive tendencies. It's very difficult to watch someone in the reverse of a self-loving state. So that brings up emotions of all sorts of things. And I know for me, when I was watching things like that, it brings up a desire to control. Because one, I don't want the person to suffer. And two, I don't like being around people that are self-destructive. I just don't want to be around it. It's tough to watch. And it's saddening. It makes you feel all sorts of different things. So that's the stuff to work on in you. You can radiate love to them. You can imagine them saying, you know what? I finally feel the desire to, a day at a time, just not go anywhere near that, whatever the addiction is. And you feel what a relief to hear that. So you can dissolve and work on that within yourself, and you can radiate the love. You can imagine them saying that, and you get yourself back into balance, and you wish for, like Jesus did with healing the sick and seeing the fields white with harvest when they were completely barren.
Right.
You imagine the person the way, hopefully you have some images of them before the addiction that you can go back to and reinfect yourself with those images of them in a non-addicted state. If you
Right.
Have you got that? Like, is that something you have memories of them before, or you met them when they were in their addiction?
Well, I have a food addiction.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm good. Sometimes there's an impulse to see something that, if you just had one bite, it starts everything. So,
Yeah.
I have that, but the other person is not food addiction, but they got other addictions. They even have love addiction as well. So it's a bit of an awkward one. But they obviously are looking to get a specific person.
Yeah.
But I know they have a love addiction that it can kind of affect them. If they're having a love addiction and they're trying to get a specific person, it's quite a thin line. You can go for me personally, you can go to extremes.
Yes.
Because you're looking for that they're looking for their crush to kind of give them the love that they're seeking. So it's a bit that for me is kind of I've always wanted to ask that question, so I'm glad I asked it, because it's what people do go through. People don't realize they do have love addictions and stuff like that, and it causes a lot of problems. Because
Absolutely.
Because when they have a love addiction, it's like they're idolizing the love, but and they're not too sure whether something's real or not, you know.
Well, and in a lot of cases too, I mean, I went to the Love Addicts Anonymous meetings for years myself, and it's like when you are in love addiction, you think you really, really love someone, but what you're really in is the obsession of them really loving you. And it's completely different. And that is, you know, I mean, Love Addicts Anonymous is a great place to go to start to get you to work on you, which is what we call these days working on your self-love.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, can I ask you, does your food addiction kick in because of that person's watching that person's addictions, or has it got nothing to do with it?
What mine's to do with stress. I've never really when I was young, I was we had a business, and I was always hyper vigilant because I was anxious that something bad could happen at any time. We had a store, but you know, people would try and rob it. People try and steal stuff, and so you're kind of conscious. All the time. Like, I'll be conscious of it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This was going on for about 20 years. So my stress and my hypervigilance has gone so high, and my anxiety, that I only know how to be that person, not a new person, you know, someone that's calm, someone that's relaxed, someone that's chilled out. So the food addiction came in because I didn't know how to process those emotions. So I would start with a chocolate bar or a can of Coke, for example, and then it started to build up to the point that the only way I can fully find relief was to eat junk food. And that's how it started. So I'm always, when I'm anxious or stressed about something, the impulse is there to try eating your emotions. So or spend them. Like, for example, I could go on a spending spree, like buy something online just to feel good, you know. And that's something I've always I've been trying to deal with it in a better way, but I find it kind of hard that I could be slipping back into the old man, if you know what I mean, all the time. I'm always pulled to the old man because that's what I know of. I don't know how to be the new man, if you know what I mean.
Well, look, it's so easy the way Neville describes it, but boy, when you got to put it into practice, it takes, like, you know, effort and resisting and not going for those things and dealing with your emotions. Can I ask you, have you still got the shop where people are stealing? Are you still?
No. We sold it. Maybe it's been coming to 7 years now. I think since I've been doing the Q&As. Before that, I couldn't really do Q&As. You can imagine that if I ask the question and you're going, Akbar, is everything all right? And then I wouldn't be answering anything because I'll be dealing with other things. So that's what it was like.
Isn't it a relief when you sell a shop? I mean, my parents and I had one too, and it's like, wow, you just really, it's so much. It's like well, I mean, if you love it, you love it. That's great, but that wasn't the case for me.
I hated it.
Me too.
I hated it so much. When the shop was about to be sold, I was trying to manifest buyers, you know. And when the buyer said they were interested, I was going, yeah, great. And then they wouldn't. It would fall through for somehow. And then we found someone really late on because I couldn't be bothered about whether they were going to buy it or not. And then they bought it. So it was a relief but it took ages for it took nearly like 9 months. A long time.
It was the same for our family, Akbar. And it's like you get your hopes up and then you get crushed, and you get your hopes up and then you go, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm stuck here forever.
That's right. I just thought permanently, I thought, that's it, I'm going to live and die here.
I know. I know it's well, thank goodness you freed yourself from it. Now you can come to Q&As, and now hopefully you can deal with all these other things.
Things, yeah.
At the time, but yeah, I think it's an ongoing journey to observe your own, addictions that you've got, and some are, minor, some are medium, and some are full blown. So it's like you go, okay, I can observe this in others, I can observe it in me. And an addiction, it really is, I don't feel good inside and I want that thing on the outside to make me feel better. It doesn't matter what it is. So the more you process your emotions, it's like the more you allow your emotions, something hits you, bang, someone, what they said, what they did, what they didn't say, what they didn't do when they said they were going to do it, whatever. You go, okay, woof, that hit me. I can feel it in my stomach. I can feel that feeling. Okay, let me sit down for 20 minutes and I'm going to write. I am so, uncensored, blah, beep, 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 angry. Why could, and you just write it out.
Right.
And you say whatever you got to say to that person. I find that is one of the most wonderful ways to get stuff out. And then you just burn it in the sink, or you rip it up into tiny pieces and you flush it down the toilet. And then it's like, okay, that's, and then the next day it might build up again. And you go, okay, you know what? I don't feel like doing that again. I'm going to do Ho'oponopono because I'm really angry or I'm really hurt or whatever. So rather than eating or rather than yelling at
I've become codependent as well, because I'm so used to so many people, dealing with so many people, that it was through their reactions that I felt okay or not okay, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
But you've been working on your self-love for a while. So do you find it getting easier over time?
To be honest with you, there are patterns in my life where I have to deal with what I find, I don't know if I'm projecting it or not, but I tend to attract, how do I put it? I don't like to label people, but people who have narcissistic traits. I don't know why it is, but I keep doing it. And I keep doing it with people I'm also attracted to. For some reason, there's a part of me that says, because you don't like me, I find you more attractive, or that attraction kind of draws in for some reason. It's like I wishing to be punished or something. I don't know.
And there's a playlist on my channel called Narcissism, and there's a woman that I interviewed, and her whole coaching and whatever she does, because it was a while ago, was she focused just on narcissism. Her name was Jen, Jen. When I upload this, I'll put the link down below for that, but that might be a really good interview for you to watch. Because there is, in my family, being a French-Italian culture, narcissism is rampant. It is so normal in the part of France where I live, in the south of France.
Right.
And most of the men in my family, apart from two, I would say, have got narcissistic tendencies. And I remember saying to myself, okay, just because I've been around this, and it wasn't just the men, it was women as well. There was some narcissistic women. And I remember thinking, okay, I don't want to be involved with this anymore. And I went through a transition phase where I would attract similar people, and then I'd go, okay, now they've revealed themselves. I can either step away, revise this, or just maybe see them from time to time and not really engage them all that much. So I find now it's so much better because you get faster, one, at identifying when people have these qualities because they're familiar, but also you go, if someone's in a narcissistic state, there's a good chance they're going to want to feed off others. And I'm not one that you're going to be feeding off, because I prefer two-way relationships. So
yeah,
I don't think don't blame yourself for attracting it, because sometimes we are in pockets of, whether it's your culture, whether it's your country, whether it's your, there are almost like clusters of where you find certain types of people. So it's saying, okay, now I can see that, or now I've identified that this person is that. Maybe I would prefer to be in where two givers get together. That makes for the best relationship. So this person is not that. I mean, I find I had someone recently in the last 3 weeks, actually, that could I have revised it? Yes. Did I want to? No. I've made a decision. I don't want to put any energy into revising and correcting a friendship with someone that I think was incredibly self-indulgent and would never let me speak. They would always talk over the top of me and all of that. And I just thought, you know what? Now I know that. I now have a choice which way I go. But this person really, I had known them maybe a year or two, but on I wouldn't say fully friends, somewhere between acquaintance and friends, and I made a decision to step away.
Right.
So there are forks in the road where you go, do I want to revise this? Is this really important to me? Or you know what? No, it's not that important. I'd rather step away and just go and work on my self-love and be aware of the next people that I attract. So you just don't beat yourself with about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Agnes. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good just trajectory of discussion there. Wendy.
Okay.
Hi, Agnes. I actually, you are doing a very good service for this community, and I have a request. Because I recently started following your channel, as I mentioned, and can you, if possible, can you create a YouTube video with all the reference books that you have read or you have heard that is useful for everyone, in case if they want to go ahead and read that? This is for future generations or future people who are coming, because some people will not see all of your interviews. Right now, in this call, she was mentioning a book named, and not this book is mentioned in all of that, but this could be a lot of work for you. If it's not too much work, and a lot of books that people you have referenced, because you might have talked with so many people in your lifetime, and so many people would have referred you so many books that would have helped you in some spark in your life or others' life. Why can't you light up on that for everyone and leave the legacy for people who are coming behind you? Because you're already making a biggest legacy after Neville Goddard. I feel like you are mini Neville Goddard. And and
Wendy, you know what, Wendy? I've just written it down so I don't forget. When I upload this, I think there's 2 videos where I recommended YouTubes and books. So when I upload this, I will put the links to both of those videos down below. Now, obviously, the books that other people have recommended to me will probably not be in there. But maybe then people can put the comments in the threads of those videos to continue. It'd be nice if we had a pin board somewhere, like a virtual pin board. We can pin things. But yeah, I will put that. I will put those down below for you, Wendy. So at least you can get started with. They're the books that I've read for 30 years, and they're the ones that I would say I go back to. I still read new books, but unless a book really, really is like, wow, that was amazing, I probably don't recommend it. But the ones that I've recommended are the ones I've read for the last 30 years. So that will give you at least something to start with.
Yeah, because after hearing all your success stories, as I mentioned, I hear 1 hour a day your success stories or your YouTube every day, just to
Yeah,
make sure that I'm getting, and then I go back to the book that is referenced on that video or the success story, and then I start reading it, making it as a practice to, because somebody who is coming and telling something, if I don't be the doer, then what's the
yeah,
purpose of me listening and just leaving it out? And
that's
also,
true.
your rubbing out technique is really, I love it. I don't know if it's creating result for me or not, but it gives me joy and happiness, and I'm not a good artist. I can't draw, but I love my drawing, it gives me,
It's
those small things makes life beautiful.
Oh, good. Wendy, I can't take credit for the rubbing out technique. I heard about it years ago, and I can't even remember where I heard of it originally, because I try whenever I bring something forward on the channel, reference where it comes from. But yes, I can't take credit for that, but it's been a wonderful thing for us all to use. And it is quite funny to do. It gives you back your sense of humor, the rubbing out technique.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, you covered so many things today about, I do have a friend, very close, thick friend, who is in a relationship of emotional, physical, mental abuse. But I
Yeah.
am teaching the lesson of this, not setting boundaries, start self, not even listening. And in one of your interview, you mentioned it. Better we take our energy, we protect ourselves, minimize that. It's not complaining time. I'm not here for complaining. It's not 4 o'clock complaining time or something you mentioned. I literally laughed it. I had to start
Yeah.
following that strategy, because my mind keep on thinking about her conversations, she should
I
not have done this, she should not have done that. Why the
Yeah,
crap I am thinking like that?
I know. I know.
I
Yeah,
wasted so much of my energy.
I remember what you're talking about. I said the complaint when my friends used to complain to me.
Right.
I'd say the complaints department shut at 4 o'clock. So it was
Right. Now I'm taking that. I am literally taking away, or I will tell her I am busy right now. I'm meditating. I'm doing some other. Even though if I'm not busy, I'm obviously telling
yeah,
her lies. Even that is fine, because that energy is. Over the 6 months, I think I have been into that energy field. I've been teaching this stuff. It is good to teach so that I can remember, but at the same time, I can't see the other person is in emotional, physical, mental abuse, which
yeah.
is bothering me. And then I realized later last week after watching your video, oh, that's not how it should be. Okay, let me at least do the rubbing out technique on that time. Listening to that complaining, even though I'm not an artist, and I will try my level best to draw something and then rub it out. No, I used to do, in India, we used to take some leaves and then write it and burn it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I thought, okay, I can do from my childhood. We used to do that. Burning was actually, at that time I was afraid, but now I can easily burn it. Oh my God, that crap, let it grow.
Yeah, yeah. It's
you
finding
know,
different ways to let things go, isn't it? And change the heavy, hard, because people will just be, I mean, when people aren't working on themselves, most people complain. That's what they do. And they think complaining is going to resolve things, and it doesn't. They don't realize they've just tightened the jacket of more things to complain about. They're going to be wearing it. So, but people, not everybody has access to this information, and we have to set good examples, but also we have to make sure we don't let our energy be drained by people that are complaining and not doing any work on themselves. We've had to earn our energy. We've had to earn having our boundaries. We've had to earn walking through heartbreak. We've had to earn working on our self-love. So other people can't just come and put, their plug into us and take that from us. We need to make sure we conserve our energy. I mean, I remember I used to go down to 0. Whereas now when I start to hit about 50%, I go, okay, I'm not giving to anyone anymore. I need to build myself back up from 50% up to 100. So you get better at not going right down. when you start getting a bit tired, a bit weary, or you think, oh, I just need some time to myself, then you take it and you put yourself first, and you don't let other people feed off all the work that you've done.
Yeah, thank you. And that lights up so much on this. And when they were talking about addictions, I was reading Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, and he was telling that emotional body is what that creates the addiction. So to break the emotional body, you have to sit with your body. And then I was reading another book that said that love is actually feeling in the inside the body.
Yes.
Love is nothing more than that. Love is basically feeling inside the body. And once we get that into it, then the awareness of being, when Neville talks about, those things will merge. You know, first when you read Neville, we don't understand. But when you read beyond Neville, you come back to Neville, you understand what he was talking about.
Yes. And
right?
Wendy, you wait until you read him in 10 years. You'll read the same book and you'll think, am I reading the same book? Like, it's just, it has so many layers, and you can only understand it from where you are mentally and emotionally and intellectually today and spiritually. So, yeah.
And you know, as I started loving, you know, pointing it out, like, you know, the highlighters. Now one book of Neville highlighting is complete. Now I had to buy another book to highlight another time with a different highlighter, so that I grasp the point, you know, every time, you know, it's never ending. And this is what Neville also made mistakes when he was doing, but it is actually quite a journey, and it's a never ending thing. But when you read other books and when you combine other books, then it's a very powerful thing. And you know, William Walker Atkinson's Power of Concentration, we have to bring that book into Neville's teaching, because without concentration we cannot visualize, we cannot do anything. When your interview Marlene, you interviewed her 5 years back, she was saying, calming down while you are brushing your teeth. Don't, you know, brush your teeth like hitting your thing. That is basically a concentration, and small concentration that she brought it into our life. That's basically the power of concentration is what needed. And I was reading Manning's book, and he to do ESP, where he was saying, take a pencil, write out 50 different things on that particular different pencil. That pencil has quality or print or the you know, color or the top, bottom, and the eraser and the eraser holder. You can go on and on and on like that. You have to develop that concentration, then only you can transcend in that, the visualization of bringing in your senses. So the foundation is like that, right?
Definitely. And I would say the concentration, it's like our here and now in 2024, everybody's multitasking. So very few people can concentrate unless you make it a practice. People that read books, people that, you know, have to focus on, you know, if you're doing surgery on someone or whatever, you have to be focused and you have to concentrate. But for the rest of us, we have to really make focusing and concentration and not multitasking. Focus on one thing and do it properly. Focus on one thing and do it properly. And when you do that, you become more relaxed, you become more pinpointed, and you get further ahead, because you're not doing a little bit of everything and you're watering everything down. So yes, I think concentration and focus is absolutely the most important thing in doing this work. I mean, I hear every day, oh, I do self-love meditation and I can't focus. It's like, well, you can't focus because you don't practice focusing for longer periods of time. You focus for a minute or 30 seconds and you build it up and you build it up, and it becomes something. It's a skill. Focusing and concentrating is a skill. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the product, you know, it's all good. And thank you for bringing that playlist that you are mentioning. I have not seen it yet. I will go ahead and see it in your YouTube. But I thought it would be better for you to, leave that books that helped you, because
Yeah.
people who are following you probably will benefit, who are willing to put time and read, because some people who are coming into your channel are pretty much have a burning desire, and
Yeah.
they take everything and take it as a notes and do. and,
Yeah.
and the words are impactful, right? Words are power, as Florence Scovel said. Word is one, right?
Yes.
So it's basically we are here, and in one of your interviews you said that focus on the journey. Focus on the journey, because this is actually nurturing every day, right? It's
Yeah.
bringing joy to yourself. You are getting up early in the morning without alarm clock, as you said.
Yeah.
I am getting up without alarm clock, but I do have alarm clock. I don't get up. That's the thing that I set it up myself. But bringing up those things in life, small things in that life, helps a lot in
does.
this journey. And that, thank you so much for your work, and I appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure, Wendy. And I will put those 2 videos for you with all the book recommendations when I upload this in the next 48 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. No problem. Take your time. Thank you for doing it.
No worries. Victoria, you still want to read?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Okay. Where did we leave off?
Let me see. We read that. There was the bit about you and my father are one business.
I think we're at as Moses.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's where we left off. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. The serpent symbolizes man's present conception of himself as a worm of the dust, living in the wilderness of human confusion. Just as Moses lifted himself from his worm of the dust conception of himself to discover God to be his awareness of being, I am hath sent me, so must you be lifted up. The day you claim, as did Moses, I am that I am, that day your claim will blossom in the wilderness. Your awareness is the master magician who conjures all things by being that which he would conjure. This Lord and Master that you are can and does make all that you are conscious of being appear in your world. No manifestation cometh unto me, save my Father draw him, and I and my Father are one. Let me read that again. No manifestation cometh unto me, save my Father draw him, and I and my Father are one. You are constantly drawing to yourself that which you are conscious of being. Change your conception of yourself from that of the slave to that of Christ. Don't be embarrassed to make this claim. Only as you claim, I am Christ, will you do the works of Christ. The works I do, ye shall do also, and greater works than these shall ye do, for I go unto my Father. There it is again.
Yeah.
He made himself equal with God and found it not robbery to do the works of God. Jesus knew that anyone who dared to claim himself to be Christ would automatically assume the capacities to express the works of his conception of Christ. Jesus also knew that the exclusive use of this principle of expression was not given to him alone. He constantly referred to his Father in heaven. He stated that his works would not only be equaled, but that they would be surpassed by that man who dared to conceive himself to be greater than he, Jesus, had conceived himself to be. Jesus, in stating that he and his Father were one, but that his Father was greater than he, revealed his awareness, Father, to be one with that which he was aware of being. He found himself as Father, or awareness, to be greater than that which he, as Jesus, was being aware of being. That as Jesus was aware of being. You and your conception of yourself are one. You are and always will be greater than any conception you will ever have of yourself.
Woo. Can you read that last sentence again? That's like rocket fuel.
Sure is. You are and always will be greater than any conception you will ever have of yourself.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, even the best one. Man fails to do the works of Jesus Christ because he attempts to accomplish them from his present level of consciousness. Man fails to do the works of Jesus Christ because he attempts to accomplish them from his present level of consciousness. You will never transcend your present accomplishments through sacrifice and struggle. Ooh. Your present level of consciousness will only be transcended as you drop the present state and rise to a higher level. You rise to a higher level of consciousness by taking your attention away from your present limitations and placing it upon that which you desire to be. Do not attempt this in daydreaming or wishful thinking, but in a positive manner. Claim yourself to be the thing desired. I am that. No sacrifice, no diet, no human tricks. All that is asked of you is to accept your desire. If you dare claim it, you will express it. Meditate on these. I rejoice not in the sacrifices of men, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Ask and you shall receive. Come eat and drink without price. Oh my goodness. The works. Just love it. It's so good.
I know, it just lights up the fire in you, this transcending your little old self and remembering that you can be loved, wealthy, amazingly healthy, and to be free of that, whatever that thing is that's been kicking your butt. It's so exciting.
Agreed. It really is.
Yeah. You got about one big paragraph and a few sentences, and this chapter's done.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yeah.
Or okay. The works are finished, y'all. All that is required of you to let these qualities into expression is the claim, I am that. Claim yourself to be that which you desire to be, and that you shall be. Expressions follow the impressions. They do not precede them. Proof that you are will follow the claim that you are. It will not precede it. Leave all and follow me is a double invitation to you. First, it invites you to turn completely away from all problems, and then it calls you to continue walking in the claim that you are that which you desire to be. Do not be a Lot's wife who looks back and becomes salted or preserved in the dead past. Be a Lot who does not look back, but who keeps his vision focused upon the promised land, the thing desired. Do this, and you will know that you have found the master magician, making the unseen the seen through the command I am that.
Ah, beautiful. Now, because we're finishing this chapter, I just want to go back to that amazing paragraph that you read, because this is the fuel in the tank. You will never transcend your present accomplishments through sacrifice and struggle. And so many of us are in sacrifice and struggle, especially struggle. So your present level of consciousness will only be transcended if you drop the present state and rise to a higher level. You cannot stay in I am poor and the fear and the anger and the worry about money and attract money. You cannot stay in I'm unloved and I mustn't be good enough and that person doesn't want me and I am not getting enough and I want more and attract love. You cannot. So you must, this is the transcendence. You got to power up first your mind to focus. It must start in the mind. Once you change your mind, then you got to bring up what Wendy was talking about, which is focus and concentration. You must improve that skill to get to where you want to go. So to get from unloved to loved, you must be focusing on I am loved. You must give yourself examples of people that love you already today as the reflection of you to prove it to yourself. You don't need to prove it to anyone else. It's proving it to yourself. It's like you almost got to fact check your own life with what it is that you desire, even if it's just small little mustard seeds of it. And you don't want to be salted. I love how he said that about Lot's wife. You know, you don't want to be the salted one, the one that's been preserved in that state. She was preserved in that state. So you don't want to preserve yourself in the unloved, poor state. You don't want to preserve yourself in I'm not good enough and I'm never going to be wanted and I'm never going to have what I desire. You can't stay there. You must make the effort mentally. And then as you make the effort mentally by I am free, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am in an amazing relationship, I have the best job I've ever had. You must stay in that, not perfectly, but do it as much as you can. Train your mind, give your mind something else to do, which is this stuff, and stop the repetition of I'm not, I can't, I aming. Exactly. It's practicing that and getting good at that. So your present level of consciousness will only be transcended as you drop the present state, all that stuff that we just discussed that we don't want to repeat, and you got to rise to a higher level. How do you do that? With concentration and focus on those I am statements. And then you shift into rising up a level of consciousness by taking your attention away from your present limitations. Stop talking about, stop looking at, stop going over, stop reinfecting yourself with the past. Just stop doing it. And it's that simple, and it's also that challenging, because it's easy for me to tell you, but when you're by yourself and you're trying to practice it, or you're having a freak out at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's a game between you and you. How well am I able to redirect my mind? Claim yourself to be the thing desired. I am free. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am good enough. I'm first best. I'm secure. Claim yourself to be these things. I am that. No sacrifice, no diet, no human tricks. All that is asked of you is to accept your desire. Accept that you are. Accept the beauty and how much it can touch you. Oh, if you dare to claim it, you will express it. Thank you, Neville. Powerful. That was, I think, the best chapter so far. So next Saturday, we will continue with Who Am I? And I will put the links down below to the book recommendations and also the narcissistic playlist that I mentioned to Akbar, and see if this week you can hold the state through better concentration and better focus. This is a week between you and you. How good am I going to be at that? And staying out of that stuff. So thank you, everyone. Victoria, thank you for reading. It's nice to listen.
My pleasure.
It's nice for me to listen, and then I can concentrate on other things, as in the interpretation and stuff. So I appreciate that. Thanks, everyone. I will upload this shortly. Lots of love for this week. And if you want to
Thank
unmute
you so
yourself,
much, Agnes,
say
and
goodbye.
thanks for everything. Sorry, it was late.
Lots of love, everyone. And I will see you in the next session.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks a lot.
Agnes was able to be here for the best